What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, and we are live with another live stream market watch, live market trading hour. I'd say that 10 times thrice. What up, Kelly D? What up, C1 Ton Soup? Some of these names I can't even say without smiling. Oh, please don't. Oh, okay, cool, awesome. Okay, now that makes sense. Please don't leave. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you for joining, man. Appreciate it. Let's look at... I wanted to make sure everything is proper, up and running. Everyone can hear me. Okay, David J, how you doing, my friend? Thank you, everyone, for joining. I just got done rendering out a video about some Tesla action. Of course, if anyone looked at Tesla today, that's been up like a monster today. Absolutely fantastic. And I think this is actually one of my favorite thumbnail that I've worked on. If you guys know where that reference is from, the big guy with the sleeve shirt, that's awesome. Afternoon stream surprise. Yep, we were another one. What are we buying? I'm not buying much. I'm actually doing a little bit of selling into strength for some like shorter dated stuff. I got rid of some of my I sold a lot of Tesla puts around when it hit 940. I got out a lot of those. It's been really nice. I got out of selling some puts in CRM. I got out of some puts in CRM really today. Yeah, CRM. My Facebook is doing really good. Yeah, it's been nice. Crazy trading day. All right, let's go ahead and let's get the screen showing so we can. What I'm going to look at first is the Tesla. So this is, again, if you're just joining, I'm doing a video that's coming out today regarding on some very interesting activity that one trader did. Someone bought nearly, it was like the 234 calls at basically at 26 bucks. Those exact same calls are trading, I believe, what was it, the 1025? They're like well over 60 bucks like now. Oh, where am I going? 1025 right here. Yeah, it's around 58 to 60 bucks. So the guy's literally up double his money, and I think that initial trade cost like $600,000. So he's well over $600,000 in the money with that, just doubling his money on a very, I won't say a very simple trade, but just seeing that momentum really break out today and being in front of it and just really just putting his money to work. Very impressive for sure. Let's go ahead and see on the chart here. So Tesla, I kind of did this like this little white box out here is what it's expecting to move for its earnings. Its earnings is not 100% confirmed yet, but they're saying around 722. That when you go to the trade tab, you can kind of see in what potentially the earnings could be is just by looking by the implied volatility. And you see really high implied volatility around the 24th-ish. It could be in between the 24th, most likely the 24th, because it's just a substantially higher implied volatility than the other weeks or other time frames that we see. So projecting out potentially that it'd be trading this week. I should make sure I'm lined it up right. This should make this color coded. Yeah, the 24th. So yeah, potentially some earnings data coming there, and they're saying plus or minus $192. I'm just going to round it up to 200, and that's where we coming back here is plus 200 or minus 200 on the chart here. Again, this is just the 68% of the funnel, what the market makers are projecting for the move in Tesla within this short period of time. Anything can happen. Again, everyone knows who's watched this channel more than 3 minutes is that we don't have a crystal ball here. So again, if Tesla comes out and it says that every third car's tire deflates, or every third car the fart gag in the car actually creates a real fart and it just stinks up the whole cabin, then that would take I'm sure that's pretty somewhat of an easy fix, but it could bring that price down. Again, what I'm basically saying is that there's so many different variables out there that we have no idea what could be potentially going on there. So And you can get, that's where we're kind of making this like this rough estimate of where it could be landing there. Let's double check there we go. All right, so looking for the first potential price target for Tesla around 1137 if it hits that. So how we got that is from getting the previous swing high, do the Fibonacci retracement for the previous swing low, and that's where we get the 1272 extension. That is again that 140, 135 price target that we could be looking at for initially higher prices. And then for the downside, you can kind of see that the 21 has been holding very well for the Tesla, kind of coming down, hitting it a couple times, breaking through it, but never really closing below it. So this 21's pretty much fairly well intact. Between the 21 and 34 has been very strong support for Tesla to the downside. Angel SPY. Let's look at SPY. So SPY it's really trying to, I won't say the word break out, it's just trying to get above the 21, which is also a great sign. The 8 really never crossed through it as much as the bears might have liked, because that 50-day in the parabolic SARs kind of came in for support there and really helped the this kind of curve this bottom out here and kind of give it a nice warm hug to kind of potentially bring this above. If this closes above the 21 today, which is a fairly strong, good sign for the bulls. For the bear case, you kind of want this to fail up here and then see a potential drop off around the 21, potentially building a base and maybe grinding lower, potentially trying to break that 50-day down below here. Again, this is on the daily chart though. The yellow line is the 21 exponential moving average, and this red dotted teal line is the 50 simple, and this little, I guess it's teal dotted line is the 200-day exponential. Can you look at Amazon? Of course, my friend. Let's look at Amazon. I just have a friend who's leaving the company that I work for, going to Amazon. So a lot of they give you a lot of shares if you go to Amazon. Like, it's pretty crazy, but it has to vest over 4 or 5 years. Yeah, this is looking good, man. This is between, again, that 21 has been really a really strong line of support there for it. With this kind of coming down here again, Amazon being a very much in the headlines for being one of the businesses that is doing very well at these times. So they don't have any retail stores, they don't have to close anything down. That's all virtual or it's remote. So they're in a pretty good place, I believe. Fundamentally, the chart wise, again, that 21 has been holding very steadily on the chart here. It kind of came down here a couple times, never really closed below it, just like we looked at Tesla. It's been performing very well. Potential upside is going to be somewhat difficult because we're just reaching near all-time highs. I can give you some, very short-dated options, or more very short-dated price targets. If I can zoom, there we go. So initially, first line of the sand would basically try to get above the previous high, which is around 2790. Just call it 2800, and then the next target would be around 2824, 25. That's interesting there. It looks like it's trying to break. Actually, let me zoom this enhance this a little bit. So you can kind of see here, if it starts breaking above the 2750, which is the 718 resistance, that could potentially drive it up to the 2783 or the previous high. It starts breaking below the 2724, which is the 618% Fibonacci retracement. That's kind of where the 21 is as well. So if it starts breaking this on the hourly chart, depending on what time frame you're looking at, it could potentially start breaking low below the 50% and potentially go down to the parabolic SAR as well. But again, I don't normally like to look on an hourly chart. I'm just going to kind of tie it back to the daily chart. So potentially if it starts going down, I'm going to look around the 26, 27 to be adding a small snippet of it if I'm buying it. Kelly D, what's your thoughts on FLIR? Is it FL? My eyes are bad today. I think we did this the other day, Kelly. This looks very familiar. This looks like again, like there's a lot of overhead pressure around the 200-day here. It looks like it's trying to build a base here and kind of curl back up. I kind of see this potentially trading sideways. We see the momentum change from red to yellow, which is a great sign. Kind of needed to start breaking above the purple dots here, the parabolic SAR, which was on 41, and then 4150 was a 21 exponential moving average. So kind of seeing those kind of start curling up, because again, these moving averages are not pointing straight to the ground. They're trying to trade sideways or parallel with the 21 exponential moving average. Once we start seeing some more divergent and they start crossing into the 21, that would be a great sign to go up. If you're interested on placing a bet on this and risking like a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, you're going to be risking basically anything below this previous low around 38.75, 38.50 to potentially make up to 41.50 there. Hey guys, what's up with Nikola? Apparently everyone's short it, but it's again, actions speak louder than words. Daniel, just remember, people put a lot of negative things out there, even though they have no stake in it. It's an analyst or something like that. They have no money involved in it. They just want to throw their 2 cents into it. I've covered Nikola quite a bit here. As I said, in the short term, I think it can potentially trade to $78 to $80 in the short to medium term. But if it doesn't break out of this $80 price range within the next month or so, I think that it could potentially start breaking lower and head to the low 50s. But right now, the bulls, in lack of better words, are in the driving seat right now and trying to drive this higher. But they need to prove themselves. They need to put some work in and really prove it to a lot of people that this is worth breaking above that $80 price target to kind of get up and moving. As of right now, the momentum is still coming down. The volume oscillator is kind of peaking up a little bit on the interest. RSI has been somewhat flat. We still start seeing some of the later stages or the higher number moving averages still kind of curling up. But then you see the 5 and 8 just kind of being stagnant. So what this could mean is like that we're just kind of waiting for the 21 and 34 to kind of get closer to the overall ticks for that potential push higher to 80, or the complete opposite of the 5 and 8 start crossing through the 21 and then seeing further downside. So Nikola, you can kind of see I have my price targets here. I'm not trading this. I don't really want to touch this with a 10-foot pole, but I have it for break 78.50-ish, and then it starts breaking around 54.88. Nikola, Scotty D, Lulu. Yeah, Lulu, didn't they just buy that weird workout company that's like a mirror? I guess everyone liked it because it's like the new stay-at-home thing, buying a $4,000 mirror or whatever. I don't know what it costs, but it's it's pretty expensive, I believe, right? It's basically like a TV, right? But it's like somewhat of a mirror. It kind of has like a hologram image on it that shows the trainer telling you to do things, and then you look yourself in the mirror. I don't understand it. My workout consists of just walking around the block with the kid, maybe riding the bike a little bit downstairs. Anywho, let's not talk about myself. Let's look at this real fast. This looks interesting. Again, I think this is the pop-up here is basically due to that news of the mirror acquisition, even though that their quarter wasn't that great, kind of sold off, but it didn't really break below the 21 until recently, and then that news again with the overall market kind of sold off, kind of popped higher, kind of failing here at the $316 limit. That's a 718, which we kind of need to be breaking out above that. The 309 is a pretty significant level as well, because that's the 618 percentile move from the basically swing high to swing low. It's basically they bought a Peloton copycat. Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. But again, do you think Peloton? They should have just bought Peloton, right? Like maybe, I don't know. Well, I think Mirror wasn't a publicly traded company. I think that if they wanted to buy Peloton, they had to pay a pretty high premium because the stock has been just running. Usually they pay 20 or 30% the premium of what the stock is. So we're looking at potentially, if they wanted to buy Peloton, they would need to pay at least like 60 to 65 bucks a share for the shareholders and board to really kind of even consider a buyout. I don't know Lulu's situation on capital and things like that. I'm sure they're selling a lot of yoga pants, especially with quarantine and people are, yeah. Anywho, for Lulu, it really kind of needs to start holding this 310-ish, 309 level to kind of potential trade sideways to kind of hold this huge gap up that we recently had. The volume has, or the momentum has switched from red to yellow, which is good. RSI is picking up. The volume oscillator, which is a great sign that it's out of the zero zone. It's now in positive numbers. The parabolic SAR has switched. So if you're in this, if you've bought this, basically it was like a descending wedge pattern. Again, I like to draw these little make-believe lines here. Kind of go here, draw them like you call them, and basically here. Again, this is not perfect because it's not rocket science, it's more of an art form. Kind of at a falling wedge, kind of created a very tight cone shape, no place where to go, and of course it can pop higher or lower potentially when it's usually flat like this. I don't know the numbers, but 99% of the time it pops higher. I lied about 99% of the time. It's probably like 60% of the time it goes higher like that. So that's been a nice little move there if you're in it for sure. Lulu, Johnny Bravo, Space is working on something today. What does that mean? What are they working on? Are they up today? They're up 4%. Yeah. So this thing has just been trading sideways. They have kind of like a squeeze set up here. Potentially, start seeing the 5 and 8 cross through the 21. We could potentially see a try of $17. I don't know why my alerts didn't come up. There we go. If it starts breaking below, again, the 200-day has been such a strong line of resistance here with the overall market. Again, you see that this 200-day has come in so many times for support and continue giving it a, lack of a better words, a leg up and kind of holding it as support. So we're going to be putting alert at or below. Let's do, I like weird numbers, 15, 12, kind of slightly below it. So again, I'm in some space long-term options. I'd like to see it again higher, but anything can happen, right? David J, can you look at Boeing? Yeah, we can look at that one. This one is kind of took a little bit of a dumpy today, but again, nothing too crazy because it's not breaking the 21. It's just kind of consolidating on this huge gap up with a huge candle. If it starts breaking below the 21 and potentially trying the 34 again, but this 34 alongside the 21 is still kind of just trading sideways. Again, I think we're still waiting on the anticipation of the whoever administration of FAA or whatever to give the complete green light, the thumbs up, the go ahead, send it kind of okay message on to let people to fly the MAX 8 or let them produce and start getting those things airborne again. I think that's usually the play here. If things start going great, again, that straight overhead resistance around the 218 level. Norwegian Air cancels 97 Boeing aircraft. Oh, really? I don't see, yeah. If no one's flying, right? That's my concern too. Like, if they get the okay, get the thumbs up, and then they're like, well, no one wants to buy it because no one's flying. They have a bunch of old airplanes that are not even being used. Newbie, I'm eyeing the net 40 call. And you're talking about NET, the crowd. Oh, where did it go? Cloudflare. The 40 call, yeah, I can see that happening. Again, it's kind of somewhat consolidating here. Nothing too crazy. It's between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average. If it starts breaking below the 33 level, that could be potential downside. Because again, your option's fairly short term on the 17th. You got 18 or 17 days-ish, whatever, from today. Because basically today's the end of the month trading, and we could seeing, which I kind of wanted to. This is why I wanted to do this, is kind of show you on what there could be a lot of dumping of a lot of stocks at the end of the month, or buying depending on what we can see. So I kind of wanted to, the last 30 minutes, kind of look at the S&P 500 between 3:30 to 4, and you'll see a lot of volume kind of coming in, seeing what happens there, and potentially what it could really just spring off the board. Billy, what is your opinion on JPMorgan? I think he's an okay guy. JPMorgan, again, all these bank stocks have been hit quite a bit here. It's due to their stress test, I believe, that happened like a week ago. Everything's kind of blurring together. Maybe a couple days ago, they had the overall stress test here in the United States. We'll look at that. With that, it's still somewhat in negative territory, aka bear territory, because again, the 5 and 8 are trying to consolidate and start going parallel with the 200-day, which is potentially trying to build a base here in JPMorgan. So within the range of like 92 to like 95, we could be trading in around this for a couple days for a potential attempt to kick higher or lower. But again, the momentum on the daily chart is still printing red. Once you start seeing this come yellow, we could be seeing the start or the first 2 or 3 bars of a base to potentially try higher. We also see the volume oscillator trying to go above 0, which is also a great sign for a potential another push higher as well. So that's my view on JPMorgan. Hopefully that was helpful for you, Billy. Kelly D, stay-at-home school play, Chegg, yeah. Yeah, these guys. I bought this as a trade way back when it was like $5. I wish I held it, right? It was only a trade though. But this one looks really interesting. It kind of had a fantastic quarter, really blew it out of the water. Then kind of came back down to the 21.34. Then had another great boost higher on overall strength and just people playing the stay-at-home stuff. Hey, Billy, don't. He asked twice again. I'm slow, and I try to spend time, at least give you the basic analysis of each stock. So thank you for your patience, my friend. So with Chegg, basically kind of coming into the 21.34, kind of had a little spaghetti dinner here with all the moving averages coming in through. Then you also see a squeeze indicated that consolidation there with the red dots. With this kind of printing lower, but then kind of failed to print even lower with the 34 kind of coming in for support. Then you see the squeeze potentially trying to go long from the lower to higher note, and that really propelled it to go higher with the RSI and volume oscillator. This thing looks really strong, but again, I'm just being a little bit conservative. If this starts breaking the 21 or 34 around 62, this could be potentially going lower. I can give you some very initial price targets, basically looking around 72 for the initial price target in the next couple weeks or so if everything goes right. Potentially when it starts breaking above 70, it can easily go to 72 with that momentum kicks in. King, how do people trade earnings, FDX for insurance? The price is between 50 and 30. What do they buy a call put depending on what they think the stock go or so game? So King, normally, yeah. So what happens is when you're going into earnings, the premiums on a lot of the straight calls and put plays are pretty high because again the applied volatility is going to be very high on those stocks because again, no one really knows which direction it's going to go, and the market makers don't know, the speculators don't know, the traders and investors really don't know. They can make their bets, but no one knows. So that builds up that implied volatility, adding to the premium of each call of stock. So if you're buying let's say an out of the money call for, I don't know, let's just pick a stock, Apple. Actually, let's do something that's kind of coming up for earnings. Let's do like Bank of America. That's coming up for earnings, I know. So Bank of America's got earnings coming out the 16th. So basically 2 weeks from now. You can kind of see here when you go to the options trading tab, you see that the implied volatility gets pretty expensive when you start going to the week of the 17th. Again, it's the Bank of America, so the volatility is not going to be too cray-cray, but it's going to still be somewhat elevated compared to other months. with that applied volatility. And with that applied volatility, that means that the call and puts have a higher premium on them, but before the earnings. But what I normally like to do, if you're playing earnings, yes, it is somewhat gambling if you are just buying deep out of the money calls or puts and hoping for it to come crashing down. Majority of the times, looking at the statistics, they usually stay within one standard deviation, unless it's a Wayfair, a Tesla, or any of these other stocks that have gone really parabolic after earnings. So that being said, if you wanted to trade earnings, and like for example, like we did it for work. What was the McCormick one? Is this MC McAnderson? Whatever McCormick was, we did one on McCormick. I think I did it on McCormick. I can't even know what I did. Yeah, MKC. So McCormick had earnings. So I wanted to play the earnings for McCormick. And what I did was, again, that earnings, I looked at what the plus or minus was for that week. Plus or minus of the worst case to best case for the standard deviation looking at there. That is basically could indicate me the standard deviations, and 68% of the time it stays within that standard deviation. Thank you. Yep, I think you're the one who told me about it too. Yeah. Thank you for the McCormick. Was that? Yeah, because you said you looked at the Amazon data, and do not leave. Do not leave, please. Is one who said yeah. It was your call. That was a great call, and I don't know what you did. So what I did was I just sold some puts. I sold some puts around the 21, a little bit lower than where I could have folded. I think I sold like the 65 put. Again, the move was plus or minus $5. Yes, I didn't make crazy bank, but I made 25-30% of my capital on the trade on it. If I bought like deep in the money calls and it went higher, I would have made a lot more money, but it would have been a little more risky, even though it needed to continue climbing higher. So I normally like to, if I'm bullish, I want to sell some puts or put spreads. Or if I'm bearish, I can sell call spreads and things like that. But just kind of really keep it around the 30 to 25 delta or even lower. I know you're not going to get a lot of bang for your buck, but it's what I like to do is I like to consistently make money. So I don't like to lose money. So I feel like sometimes when you're just buying deep in the money calls on something, because again, you can't be 100% about everything. So for example, if this McCormick put, I had plenty of room if it came down to 170. Even if it missed, my call options would have been worthless or less, but my put still would have value because it just needs to continue staying above 165. So there's basically there's three ways of making money. If it goes up, down, or sideways, and if you sell a put or a call, you're in two of those brackets, if that makes sense. Hopefully that was explained it to you very well. That was a little bit long-winded. I'm sorry. Is it true that traders do a little dancing every time they cash out on win? That is yes. I do a little jiggle. What up with WKHS? Is that Workhorse? What is it called? The vans. It's just gone parabolic. Like again, this is just. All the charts are it's literally off the chain here. It's the dog is loose. It's a free roaming rocket ship, and I can't touch this. It's gone parabolic, and it just what's going to happen? Most likely, you're going to have the expert day trader short sellers kind of start coming and maybe try to nibble on it. They're like imagine this being like a very large shark or a whale taking off and bursting out of the water, and then you have kind of up in the air. Sounds a little crazy. And those little guppy fish kind of coming in and nibbling on it, potentially getting those barnacles off and cleaning it off to try to get a little bit of it to go lower. I don't know where I'm going with this. That sounds like a horrible analogy. But basically, you're going to have the potentially, I don't know when, short sellers trying to come in here to potentially short this. And it can go higher for much longer. Then run this, please. FDX. Oh, is that FedEx? Yeah, this thing is. Ugh. It's earnings today, after the close. Ooh. So, again, what I just talked about is it's a little complicated. I wouldn't want to play earnings, but it looks like it potentially has some resistance around the 140. Let's look at what the potential move is $9 for the week. $9 would basically put it up to the way up here, potentially. Again, it doesn't have to go up there. It could potentially up there or down lower to around the $9 limit. Basically down to the 34. So it's kind of a pretty large spread here. I'm kind of just going to draw this all the way up. So basically this is its potential likely move. Again, what the options markets are saying for the movement. Again, earnings, a complete coin flip. I have no idea how FedEx is doing. If I look at previous history or quarters, it kind of did black, kind of down there. This one up. I don't know. God only knows. I don't know any fundamentals of FedEx, but the overall chart has still just shown so much resistance at the 200-day exponential moving average, and unless they really knock it out of the park and get above that 200-day exponential moving average, I'm just gonna have to be like, maybe not. So that's just my honest opinion on FedEx there. Looking at the chart. Hey, what's up, Ken? What's up, Rock? What do you think about NIO dropped today? That's the Chinese Tesla, right? With this one, it looks like it's just kind of making like a reversal here, potentially to kind of start breaking about its previous high. Again, this whole EV market has just been a rocket ship, lack of better words, just for new expansion investors and things like that, of just basically creating a new, I believe, a long-term trend within the EV market, because it's finally okay to make an EV car and people are like okay with it. The range is okay. I'm comfortable with it. They don't blow up, whatever. They don't cause radiation on the road. I don't know what the reason it could be. With this one, it really needs to prove itself and kind of break above its previous high and those parabolic SAR. If it doesn't, it could be easily come back down to below the 715 to potentially first line of support around the 650 level. That's for the rock. Billy Cat. Yeah, we can look at Caterpillar. This is usually a stock that I normally look at quite a bit to kind of gauge on what the overall world economy is doing, because again, if people aren't building things, people aren't buying or renting their products, it's a very strong tell to understand on what the company's doing and kind of gauge the overall market sentiment out there in the global economy. With this one, kind of around the same thing. The 200-day has come at kind of hurting it here back and forth a couple times, kind of having trouble getting above it. If it kind of gets above it, kind of just comes right back down. Doesn't look like earnings are on the horizon anytime soon. Looks like it's just consolidating, honestly. It looks really interesting. The 34 has kind of come in here in the short term. So it kind of had some support on the 16th or the 15th, and then some support the last 2 or 3 days as well when it kind of sold off. So if it starts breaking below the 122 level again, if it closes below the 122 level, that could be potential further downside to potentially the 50. As of right now, if it wants to continue going higher, those parabolic SARs are kind of holding it back. So we really need to break above the 128 level on CAT to kind of get that movement higher. And I also wanted to do, this is pretty ripe for a fib analysis here, swing high to swing low. That's interesting. So it's exactly at the 618. So this is really interesting. I would like to see that this, the TTM squeeze down here switches from red to yellow. With the volume oscillator, it looks like it's going to be above 0 potentially soon. And if volume comes in to buy this, this could be a potential further prices to go higher to around that 128 level if we can get that nice little kick up higher there into the close or the next coming days. Billy, so depending on what your initial trading strategy was, your to risk to reward analysis, for me, you said you bought it at 124. You're basically up $1.75-ish. Not sure how many shares, but if it's for me, if it starts breaking 122, I would trim my position or get out. Just make sure that you have a plan going into the position, and that's worst case and best case, and the circle case I call it, or the WTF case, where something can just crazy happen, like there's some parameters of like, oh, Caterpillar is now a dog. They're whatever. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm being kind of sunburnt the last couple of days when taking my walk, so my brain cells are kind of being fried. King, yeah. So basically, be on the sell side. That's just, I'm more conservative on the earnings because earnings are just a complete coin flip. My experience with options, especially, I've had those beautiful 10 to 30 bangers with like shorting Facebook or just doing straight puts and calls before with some stocks and making great money. But then I've given it back on flipping the coin, playing those plays. So just be mindful of that. That's just my experience. Yours might be different. You're welcome, Billy. I think Cat's a pretty interesting position. Like, yeah, I want to see on what the options look like here. I can pull over Tastyworks here. Oh, let's do that. Let's see here. So it has earnings. Looks like the 17th. There's not that much activity here, so I normally like to see a little bit more volume in this. Let's do open interest there. A little bit more volume in here. So this is currently like my options trading account that I use. So I'm a little bit more loosey goosey. It's not like a traditional IRA account where I just kind of be super conservative with it. But it looks like there's quite a bit of activity around the 130. So you start seeing the move is plus or minus $8. So where the current price is like 125-ish. So $8 from here would basically put it up here to like the 134-ish, lack of a better words. That's the extreme. You can kind of see here. Tastyworks kind of helps you do that by giving you that range here. So that orange line is basically what the expiration is stating here with that plus or minus. And then the little blue line is the standard deviation. So normally, like King, you asked on what I would be doing. If I was bullish on CAT, I would be potentially looking at selling like the 17 or the 16 or something like that of those options, and usually just do it like a spread. Like, again, I'm risking $165, but I'm only can net 35. That seems really backwards to a lot of people, but again, the probability of profit is what I focus on as well, which is 78%. So I would rather make consistently $10 out of 10 trades than lose $100, depending on what the strategy is that I'm trying to imply or work with. Yeah, so it's nothing too cray-cray on this one. There's not much activity, so I need to see. Okay, this one looks like a lot more activity, because if you look here, there wasn't it's pretty stagnant. Like there's not that much in between some of these round numbers. So you see it's probably the 120 and 115 are going to be the more larger round numbers for those, and then the further out, you can see a lot larger numbers as well, because once these expand down and this becomes the next previous monthly, this will be turning into, they'll be adding the strike prices in between the 109 to 106 here, and that's where you kind of see the longer term holders or rolling of their options. That's where you just see those $5, the $5 wide or the $10 wide options as well. So that's again, like, normally if I'm buying options, I used to like to buy the whole numbers or around like the $5 increments. That's basically the best way, or some of the very simple tips on buying some options. Because if you're buying the $16 put or whatever, or the $16 call, there is like zero volume on it, and there's only 5 contracts open interest. So you're trying to place a bet in between 5 other people that would potentially have this contract. Or if you just go up a couple or down one, there's 8,000 there. So there's going to be less likely to get a fill that you want, instead of just really trying to negotiate with the mid or the bid between buying or selling. Gibbs, what do you think about BA? I live by BA, Boeing, and I saw the test flights take off, and it just shot 90 degrees up. It was incredible to watch. Really? Well, I think that's how they test the airplanes, right? They just put it into literally the most extreme case, and they're just like, okay, we're just gonna do a complete rotation up higher. Boom. They're great airplanes. They're 100% great airplanes, but it's tied to who's going to buy them, right? Their airlines are not really open right now. They are open, but no one's really flying. Like, the people that I know who go on vacations, they're not going on vacation. Like, they're not flying anywhere. They're actually, a lot of the folks that I know, which is not many, are taking RVs. They're taking RV vacations, so they're not having to fly. They're not having to stay in a hotel room. They're just going to RV it up. And we can see that pretty much in the ticker symbol Thor. Is it Thor? No. What is Thor? Is it THR? No. What is Thor? That's Thor. THO. Okay. So this has kind of been rocket ship higher due to the fact of a lot of people just don't want to take those vacations, and they're just going to be taking those easier vacations on just renting or buying an RV and seeing the United States in that way. So initially we had some pretty outlandish price targets at 123. Again, it's been performing fairly well. It's kind of coming down to the 21 here potentially. If we start seeing this volume oscillator start going negative, and same with the RSI start printing lower, with the momentum going lower as well, and it starts closing below the 21 with the 5 and 8 crossing through the 21, we could potentially see some support around 97 for Thor there. But I think they've really got the swing of things, and I think the momentum is on their side. Billy, we haven't talked about DraftKings yet. We can look at that. Plug, a hydrogen cell company that's raising up a lot in the past week. What do you think? Yeah, so again, looks like we did this analysis here previously, and it hit that 1618 analysis, or the Fibonacci retracement there. So that's also a good sign for potentially movement forward. This being said, the movement has just been so drastic in the last week. Again, between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average, it's just been driving up really high, and it's going to be a hard one to kind of get behind. Potentially, if it starts coming back down to 7 and holds the 8 exponential moving average, if you want to trade it as a momentum trade, just be mindful that it could just easily come back down to the $6 limit once it kind of loses press with the overall market. RSI is not completely red yet. Volume also is somewhat flat, potentially kind of trading sideways potentially. We could be trading sideways to kind of wait for these moving averages to kind of catch up there. Thomas, looks like that. Yeah, we could look at some DraftKings. So this one has kind of been. This is probably one of my worst trade this year so far, where I was pretty bullish on this when it hit the 21. Somehow I didn't get out of it, or I was just being silly or dumb, and then somehow I thought I got out of it, but I didn't, and then I woke up the next morning and I was like, why the hell do I still have DraftKings in my account? And I never hit the confirm and send on Tastyworks. So I've been kind of in this position. I got out of a majority of it. I rolled a little bit into August. This thing is trying to build somewhat of a base here. So the best way to look at this is looking at the 4-hour chart, because again, the daily chart, there hasn't been that much out there for data-wise there. For this one, I thought the potential continued downside could come down to like the 28 level. I think that still could happen, but we start seeing the 5 and 8 on the 4-hour chart starting to kind of level off and potentially trade sideways. So the parabolic SAR is still below. It's still below 21. The only good thing is it's still above the 200. RSI is kind of somewhat flat. Momentum's still red. We need that to start turning yellow, and the volume oscillator start printing positive for this potentially to try a push to break above the 8 exponential moving average, which is not substantially higher, around 3450, to break that 21. So for me, I'm still in it, just very small size. I lost more money than I would like, but to each his own. You make mistakes, right? This is one of my mistakes that I did this year, that I wasn't. I don't know what happened there. I just wasn't paying attention. I was just trying to rush things, and I thought it was out. It didn't confirm it was out, and yeah. What do you think about MKTX? I say X. Look at the daily chart. I don't know what this company does, but it's sorry, just took a drink of water. I like it though. It looks interesting. I like this. It's kind of consolidating around the 21. The 5 and 8 kind of coming in to potentially wind this thing up for a kick higher. The 34 and 21 has been strong on this chart. Really, the 34 has come in multiple times for support. It's kind of uplifting it. The only thing is that if you start seeing a break above here to the 517, it really needs to break those parabolic SARs to kind of go below the overall ticks there. The squeeze is indicating for the last 5 days, which is a great sign. We need the volume oscillator to kind of go positive and RSI start curling up. I want to look at this on some of the options to see what does this look like on the options chain. So let's bring over this. This has earnings on the 22nd. Yeah, it looks like this is the only thing is like, look at these spreads. These spreads are so terrible. The spread. What I mean by the spread is like we're talking $3 in between both the tickers. Yeah, this is gonna be a hard thing to trade for me. It's not liquid enough. Sorry. I like the chart, but I could be maybe just trade the stock. But yeah, I might actually. Let's just buy. I'm gonna buy. Let's see here. Let's work and see if I'm gonna buy some stock on that one. Thank you, my friend. What I'm gonna play is I'm gonna put in. So, oopsies. Why did that come up? Unpin that. Looking for that. Why didn't it fill yet? Let's see here. I'm gonna try to work this fill here. There, we got filled. Fantastic. So once it gets filled, I initially go right to my trading tab and I put in a stop loss. Basically, I'm going to call it at the 483-ish level, and then I'm going to do a break or limit level to sell it around the 525. So what I analyze the 525. All right, there we go. All right, that's all set. So thank you for that, my friend. We'll see how that goes. What do you think about BLNK? BLNK. Whew, what in the world? Yeah, this has just gone parabolic. This has been a very parabolic day. So this could be forming the FOMO trade, which I talk about. But again, I don't do well with these stocks that have just gone up like a rocket ship. If tomorrow comes in and the volume's basically plus or minus about the same of the same 2 days ago, that creates the middle finger, the two knuckles, and of course the middle finger flicking us off. That could be potentially further downside. I don't know what this company does or what, but yeah, that looks really interesting. Big thoughts on ZS. Ooh, yes, ZS. That's a hot name. Zscaler. This one looks really good too. Like this one looks really good. It's really kind of just consolidating after a fantastic quarter. This one, I believe, isn't the CEO big? He owns like 20% of the company or something. Like he owns a huge amount of stock in this thing. Like it's absolutely enormous. His overall position in the company. It's almost like equivalent to like what Jeff Bezos owns. In that fact. So with Zscaler, it's really just kind of come back to the 21, had that bounce from that low, potentially trying to pull higher. The squeeze is in play. Actually, I'm going to look here on the options here. Well, I'm sorry if I'm just bugging you guys. I know this is during market hours, but I kind of like this. I like this trading setup, so I'm going to look at this. There's no earnings currently reporting. Potentially might want to sell. Let's see what the volume is and some spreads here. The 103-ish, not that too much volume. I can get into that. Maybe do a little bit lower to be safe. I kind of see higher prices. What is this going for? 47 to that. I'll take that. So I'll take that as well. So I'm just selling some puts there. Again, these are just my trades. You make your own trading decision without a doubt. I kind of like this. Kind of just putting that imaginary floor basically around the 21 or where the parabolic SAR is there. CCL, yeah, we could look at some cruise lines. It's been a minute since that's kind of came up. They're just kind of like no man's land in the sense of, again, they had that huge run up thanks to a lot of Robinhood and Wall Street Bets investors. Then kind of came down because they kept on pushing their dates on when they're allowed to set sail again and go on their voyages and so forth. Potentially the 5 and 8 crossed through the 21 and kind of been beaten up. The 50-day has kind of come in for support again. So for me, this is not a crazy growth stock. I usually like to go do growth stocks or something that's going to be performing very well for me. Not saying CCL is not a great company. It's just something that's a little blah. Like, I'm not a fan of cruise lines. I just don't like to be stuck on a boat. That being said, I do like money though. So if you want to do a risk to reward, if it starts breaking below the 16 to the 15.50 level for a potential play to get above $17 to $18 for a short-term play. If you're long-term, you're going to be at longer-term horizon, and we can look at some very basically, if it starts getting below around $14 to potentially get a nibble for a play, again, long-term, talking years, to kind of get above that $30 level potentially there. Andrew, HHT. Yeah, nothing to say there, Andrew. Sorry, it's a penny stock, and I cannot add anything to that. This looks like it's just going overall just downstream and just trading sideways or down. People said you're using RVs. What would you think of CWH? Is that Camping World? Is this like the store Camping World? I guess people can. Yeah, probably people are going to go camping more. I don't know. I don't like camping, but I don't always put my opinions on things. But I normally like to give it though. With this one, it looks like it's been a high flyer for sure. With this one, even though it's kind of crashed due to the overall market, but it's kind of made a really crazy comeback and just really grinding higher with that the 21 there. Kind of came down once for support there and then kind of continue going higher. This is still a pretty significant uptrend, so we're going to just kind of draw this little, I love these little imaginary lines here, and we're going to go here, there for a potential continue run higher. This is a pretty steep line here. Let me go, this is not proper. There, that looks better. Potentially continue riding up this line here. If it starts breaking the 5A, start crossing through this line and potentially the 21, and if the ticks don't bounce off the 21, we could be looking at some support around 23.50-ish there. Billy, SNX jumped massively the last 2 days. Is this another parabolic trade? Because then if so, it's I really don't have much to add to it. Okay, it's not crazy. Let's see here. This looks pretty prime for that. Going on the 618. Yeah. So the 618 is kind of coming in for support. You can see a potential double top here. It needs to kind of break above this for potential push higher to around the 130. The volume oscillator is great. RSI is great. There's no squeeze, but the momentum's trying to push higher. We kind of see that middle finger play out here, but again, it just had earnings, so it's not really a FOMO trade if it has like earnings in front of it. If it's just straight out of nowhere here, that could be potential worse. But with earnings, you're going to see a lot of volume coming in there without a doubt. And it looks fairly strong with the 5, 8, and 21 nicely stacked. And everything trying to break through the 200-day, it looks really good. Potentially looking for the downside support of basically around 105, 104, and then potentially upside support around 130 there. Did I do that one? Andrew, are these more penny stocks, Andrew? It's almost a penny stock. This is just, I have nothing to add here. Like, this is crazy. How does something go from $2? Yeah, I can't, nothing to add there. That's just, there's no charting. Those strategies don't work with me. In this one, SECO, this is a continuous downtrend potentially. Earnings coming out again, a complete coin flip for me for these smaller penny stocks. Looks like if it ever gets back to the 200-day, this could be a potential short because it's failed multiple times on the daily chart around that time frame. What about GOL? I don't know what this is. I think we talked about this before. This looks very familiar. Again, looking like this has something to do with some kind of industry with, I don't know. This looks entertainment goal in his arenas. Is this the esports thing? So this one, again, it's kind of consolidating here for like call it a wedge or whatever you want to call it, but it's kind of holding the 21. So this is a pretty good sign here, kind of building a base here for a potential move higher or lower, depending on what could be happening here or where you want to place your bets. If you want to do a risk to reward, it looks like it had a pretty big pop up from its low and it kind of failed around the 200-day and kind of came back down. Looks like it's just kind of consolidating and taking its sweet old time down there. What's your thoughts on Ford? Oh, it's an airline? Yeah, I don't want to touch it then. F. Ford. Yeah. So if you look at Ford, GM, or any of the car company manufacturers, they're just really getting slaughtered. Lack of the sense of people not buying cars. Like, I believe, was it Ford who sent out, like, if you lose your job on a new car, they'll just take it back, no questions asked. It was an article I read, like, really quick. I didn't know if it was, like, completely, it was from CNN, so I guess it was somewhat credible. But, you know how those articles just come, it didn't say, like, if it was a certain part of the United States, it was just said that buy a new Ford car and you lose your job, no questions asked, take the car back. That seems pretty desperate to me. But with the Bronco coming out, like, that's gonna be sick. A lot of people want these trucks. We got the Nikola Badger, we got the Tesla Cybertruck, we got the Bronco. Like, who's gonna win? Like, it's great. It's great competition. With this one, with Ford, the 34 and 50 kind of has come in for support. It's not crazy selling off. It's trying to build a base around the 34 and 50. It's kind of really failed here, the 200-day. So if it ever gets back up to the 200-day, which is around $7 right now, maybe take some profits if you bought into this range, because it just looks like it's really just kind of beaten up and not performing very well. The volumes have been kind of blah. Momentum's going down. The volume also is kind of just trading sideways around 0. So nothing to really report there. If you want to kind of hold it for a long-term play, I think you can, but I just think there's other faster momentum stocks out there to put your money into. MVR, thoughts on VRM? Yeah, this is one we kind of talked about. Was it this the other day? Is it MW? MWM. My eyes are terrible. MWM, on basically just having this kind of just trading a newer IPO. So we kind of have to break this down to like a 4-hour chart. It's really, again, going to be moving those moving averages between the 5 and 8. Again, with those parabolic SARs there, it's going to be some downward support if it starts getting below 52. Could be breaking down to the $50 level. It has hit the 50 a couple times before, kind of here, definitely hit here. If it starts closing below it, that could be further downside there as well. It's going to be a hard one if you're not in it. It looks like it wants to trade sideways. It doesn't have earnings coming out or something, because it looks really strange here. It looks like it could have earnings in August, it looks like, potentially, or before August. Let me see what Tastyworks says. Was it VRN? Yeah, they don't have anything on there as well, so there's no potential earnings coming out on this. Again, newer IPO, really took off to the $60 level, came back down, really hit this box level where it kind of needed to break out. It kind of did break out, and now trading up with this 21 here. Potentially, if you want to nibble on it, I wouldn't nibble on it until it even got down to like the 50-day. I'm sorry, the 21 around $50. Oh, you've been in it since last week? So yeah, so you were up in this move, so that's great. Just be mindful. It helps to know when you got into it. So if this can continue trading sideways, maybe it could be waiting for the moving averages to kind of catch up with it. Again, I'm not 100% sure what the company does, but it looks like if it starts breaking below the 52 to 51, it could be some potential downside. If it starts closing below those prices, that's when I'm concerned, because I'm looking at the 4-hour chart or the daily chart. Etsy's, thoughts on Etsy's, Kelly D. Let me move this back to daily. I'm just going to put an alert on this one, basically, if it breaks 50 and if it breaks 60. Just want to see what happens. And then Etsy, ETSY. I think this one is fantastic without even looking at it. Everyone I know is talking about Etsy's. Where'd you get your mask? Etsy. Where'd you get this? Etsy. Where'd you do that? Oh, I'm still on Etsy. Do I buy it up here? I can't do that. My rules don't allow me to do that. It's just making an all-time high today. It really, your time to buy this was around this consolidation between the 21 and 34. That's the thing that sucks about a lot of things about what's going on here. That's a tough one. Because again, it never really closed below 21 or the 34. The parabolic SAR really kind of gave it support to go higher. It's hard to buy it up here. The squeeze has fired. It's been really strong. RSI is almost the overbought, which is really high indication. Again, pretty much, I wouldn't say completely parabolic, but it's near parabolic. Could be just trading sideways, really close to the, if it starts breaking above the 112 level, That's going to be a super significant thing. No earnings on the horizon. I just think it's just really a work from home pandemic play. Jose does things. Ticker symbol Microsoft. I know. Microsoft. I know. 200 call is a meme, but it seems like it's slowly breaking past its barrier. Yeah, I love Microsoft. I think it can easily get above 200, probably. Yeah, this thing with Microsoft between the 21 and 34 has been ongoing support. Since the parabolic SR is still kind of above it, it really needs to break above the 203 level to kind of continue going higher, which is a great sign. Momentum strong, RSI strong, so is the volume oscillator. This thing looks like it just wants to continue riding up the 21 exponential moving average. Handle selling puts, but you did a put credit spread. Yeah, I did a put credit spread on that trade that I did. I normally do put credit spreads, yes, to limit my risk. It's limiting your risk, and due to my trading capital on this account is only like $17,000 to $20,000 right now on my options trading account. So I'm a little bit limited on capital in the sense of doing straight out puts. Ticker symbol ICUP. Nope, ICUP. What? You silly son of a gun. It's not even ICUP. You son of a gun. I did it like 13 times there, Johnny Bravo. That's a funny one. That's a good one. That's funny. That's a good one. That's funny. Rock. See that I literally just go down like a robot. I'm a robot. The rock. I have nothing to add to this. This looks like another FOMO trade. I wouldn't call it the middle finger method, but it looks like it's kind of trending lower. Potentially could come down to $4 if this starts failing. If it starts breaking below the $5.90 level, could easily come back down to $4 with this momentum. Again, no idea what this does, but yeah, it's too parabolic for me. Because you can see most of these pop-outs have come back down to 21, pop-outs come back to 21, but it might take a couple days or a week to do that. Johnny, you got me. That's the best one. That's going to be like a new thing. If you're going to be putting in those things. Spy order really crawling up there. Oh my god, I laughed that hard right now. Thank you, Johnny. That we all needed that. That was a great. Looks like it's past 3:30, so I wanted to look at S&P 500. So look, S&P 500 is kind of coming in with a lot of strength here. Really trying to break above and close above the 21, which is a great sign for the overall markets. If you're a bull, if you're a bear, this is probably a painful day for you on trading that. I kind of wanted to look at a 34. Let's see here. Oopsies, I did that wrong. 34 EM low. So let's see. Looks like a lot of these stocks that are coming up here on this scan. So the 34 EMA wave low is basically, it's going up on a Tuesday. Do you remember that rap song? That might be dating myself there. It's going up on a Tuesday. So it looks like like American Airlines, Norwegian. Oh, something just got filled. Oh, my ZS got filled. So I'm in. It's always fun to forget what you did and then something gets filled. So what I did, I sold the 100 put and I bought the 97.5. So I only did a one strike or one options, and I'm basically risking 165 to make like $47. I normally put in a order since that just executed. I needed to put in my outward order and my limit loss. So I want to do 40. I'm going to do 50% of that gainer. So let's do 25. Let's go back and look at this real fast. ZS. So it's breaking below here. That would be around 32. Let's just do. There we go. So that's interesting there. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fairly strong close. We can kind of go into the crazy lower time frame charts. As of right now, we kind of see that it's trying to break the topper band of the VWAP if you're doing intraday trading. SPY hits 310. I don't know about 310. So, like what we talked about when you're just joining this, just joining the live stream. So we're looking at the potential movement in the last 30 minutes on seeing on a lot of volume coming in. I don't think I was working on a volume, a very much a volume indicator or thing that was, again, I don't do much intraday trading or day trading, so that being said, SPY can probably start grinding higher to what is 310 at. That's pretty significantly high up there. Not saying it can't happen, but we can kind of look here at the options on SPY that are expiring today. So they're saying another $1.20 to move. So yeah, that could easily maybe put it to like 950 to 9-ish to 309 potentially. 910 would be a little bit outlandish and a betting a little bit higher than the overall market makers are thinking. But again, we can put an alert. Let's say, was it 9:30? Let's see if that can break that there. Potentially, there's no squeeze really setting up here into this market here. The momentum's going substantially higher. Volume is really coming in here. As you can see here, the average volume has been about 1 million in these 15-minute increments, and it's close to a little over 3. So interesting there. We'll see if that triggers that. We'll see what happens there. Overall, like I think if we close out good, so if you guys recall, we did a webinar. We didn't do it on Friday, but I did a video on Saturday regarding on my breakdown on S&P 500, saying that the Friday's low was a buying opportunity and potentially buying some stocks, some of it Friday into Monday, and then a nice little push higher. So that's what basically we're seeing through that. Thoughts on Apple? Yeah, we can look at apples. I like bananas too. Apple, again, this thing has been a complete beast. It is grade A beef. It is the Kobe beef of the stock market. I don't know if that makes sense. It's the charcuterie. I'll stop. That being said, it's really been trading between the 5 and 8 exponential moving average here on the daily chart for the last 3 months. It has just been trading in around that range. It doesn't even get down to the 21. Like, it's been so consistently trading in that range, to see if just kind of breaking out. It's kind of taking a break up here, potentially trying to break out to get to all-time highs around the 372 potentially again. It is something that, again, Apple is considered like the market gold standard. It's one of the largest positions in the Dow and the S&P 500. It's in so many different various ETFs that it just really moves the market. So if the Apple's down, everything else is going to be down. Oh, you mean Wagyu? Okay, it's the Wagyu. Yeah. It's that really good meat that you just try once or twice a year when you go to the restaurant. You're like, you know what? YOLO, let me try that steak there, my friend. And then you're like, what? It's $100? Get out of here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Anyways, Kelly D, GLW, any upside with demand of glass vials for vaccine? I don't know. Again, you might know more about pharmaceutical stuff than I do. With this one, it looks like it failed at that 2783, potentially kind of coming back to that 50% retracement. I believe we talked about that, which is the 200-day and where the 21 kind of intersect for a potential trying to push higher to the 2783 limit there. Oh, you're talking about Johnny. I think everyone, even Warren Buffett, talks about the tax loopholes that he uses, so he doesn't have to pay that much taxes. But they're like, fix it, go fix it. But you're literally asking a bunch of kindergartens to fix the tax problem. That's basically what my views on the government, in some sense of just trying to focus on one thing. It's next to impossible. It's like trying to herd a bunch of cats to do things. It's gonna come in a Ziploc bag, and you just cut a small hole in it, and you just drink it like a Capri Sun or something. Yeah, I know nothing about the vaccine business at all, so I wouldn't be able to add anything there. On the chart, if you want to do a risk to reward, if it starts breaking below this low of like 25.50, and it starts getting down to 24.50ish potentially, to get out, this could be a play to the upside, back to around the $27 level. I gotta put that there. I really don't. This looks interesting, but there's nothing really too setting up for me there. I actually want to put that there. I like to watch these and see what happens on the analysis that I give. Apple's. What do you think about what's it? NVIDIA? What is that? Is that NVIDIA? You're talking about NVIDIA, or am I missing the stock here? Which is NVIDIA is like NVDA, right? Oh, why isn't it typing? NVDA. And this thing has been a nice little rocket ship, potentially trying to test higher prices there. Nice little squeeze indication. RSI is trying to... Oh, yeah, no problem, man. I misspell things all the time. Yeah, it's NVDA. I got you. I got you, man. I was picking out what you're putting down. Yeah, NVIDIA. Whew. That thing is... That's a sexy mother trucker, man. That thing... The sad thing is, I'm pretty heavy into AMD, so I don't like to double dip, but if I had to choose one of the two, I'm still in AMD. I love AMD, but NVIDIA is just really killing it here. Again, the stock price is substantially higher by like tenfold. And the 21 has really kind of come in here. Even with that really strong sell-off into the last 2 or 3 days, kind of hit that 34. It never switched the parabolic SAR to the top, so this is also a great sign there as well. Really strong. I kind of saw that I have a price target at 350. If it broke that, I wanted to buy it, but now I don't think I'm going to see that in the short term. It's looking like it really wants to break out to get above that 385 level potentially. If you want to do a risk to reward, if it starts breaking again below the 370 level, to potentially risk to go above that 385 level. I want to see on what's the I might have better options here. We can just I don't see earnings coming up here either, so I want to give myself a little bit of time. The spreads are kind of deep in August, maybe here potentially $5 wide. If I do here, buying power, it's kind of let's see, what's that price target right there? 364 low down to 338. Interesting. And do I want to buy it up 3% today? That's a tough call there. Let's see my rules here. I need to put some capital to work though. If I do 3 wide, if I do 350, 300, let's do that. Alright, got filled in that. So I sold, again, I'm just doing small trades. This is my really small trading IRA account where I just like to do a lot of put spreads and things like that. So I sold the 352 put, and then I bought the 350 put as well for protection. So I'm risking 200 to make 35, 50 bucks. Because it's looking like it wants to potentially go higher. So if this goes higher in the next week or so, potentially can see some things. And I love the psychology in the overall market as well. So the psychology of like, hey, everyone's going to be going out and about potentially this weekend, looking for and hanging out with their families with 4th of July and things like that. And guess what? The majority of them are not going to talk about sports because that's not existent. And I think a lot of people are just going to be talking about stocks, the market, and that kind of stuff. And they're going to be talking their book. And I think what happens a lot of times over Christmas and Thanksgiving when families come together, you see the people like coming back the following week of like, hey, my brother, cousin-in-law, sister's son told me to buy AMD. So, yeah, options on Wirecard. That's the German card company. I have nothing to add to that. I don't even know the ticker symbol on that one, but I don't really want to touch that one as well with a 10-foot pole. Because then they had just like lose like a couple $1 billion. How is Tastyworks comparison to TD Ameritrade? So the reason I use Tastyworks is due to the fact that it's a little bit, I won't say it's better in the sense of pleasing to my eyes, in the sense of it does what I want it to do, and I've just had a fantastic experience with them regarding their overall awesomeness in the sense of I do a story time real fast. So I was in a Facebook position a ways back, and it wasn't on this downturn here. It was maybe a couple of years ago, or maybe a year plus. And YOLO, LOL, is it worth to go YOLO on it? No, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's just too big of a. It's too much of a risk. Oh, hit 310? Really? We're close. Oh my trigger did I just got the alert. Okay. Wow. That is a heck of a move. Someone just made a ton of money there on that last close there. Yeah, SPY is jumping hard. Let's look at here on a smaller price target. Like, ooh. Yeah, that thing, it literally just tapped it. Like, look at that. I cannot. The high is, wait a minute. It didn't break it on this candle. I don't know why mine got triggered. Did I put it lower? Did I not put 310? Okay. There, that's 310 now. Maybe I had it a little bit lower. What did my, let's see. Why did my alerts not populate here? Looks like it's really trying to push higher here into the close. So this is what I'm talking about. So this is fantastic. Like, look at this volume coming in today. Literally the last 15 minutes of trading here at the end of the month. This is what I wanted to highlight. This is a huge amount of volume coming here. Nearly 8.5 million trades in the last 15 minutes of the S&P 500. So everyone's getting out, moving, and things like that, trying to get into consolidated position. It's really trying to hit that 310. And what that 310 means is basically here, we'll go to this chart, really strong position, kind of get back to where we were basically a week ago, to be trading in around that position there. Yeah, I'm not going to be trading options on that. It's a little bit too short term for me there. By short term, it's you literally have 5 minutes left to trade that option. I came in a little bit late. What is exactly your rules on taking positions? I have a lot of rules. It just hit. Yeah, wow. I got the alert. There it goes. All my phones vibrated. Nice. Wow. It did hit. What my rules on trading positions are is like I like to be conservative on my positions. That's basically it. And if I'm doing options trading, unless I am really, really in it and I completely understand it, I will buy straight calls in the money. They have to be in the money though. I don't buy a lot of out of the money calls. And if I'm slightly bullish, I usually just sell some puts or put spreads. Andrew, I got the Apple call options for 370 July 2nd. Andrew, whatever your trading position was or your plan was, if you're up on profit, if you had a marker of just making 50% of your money and you made it, then you get out. If it's breaking certain price targets, that's all in your hands, brother. Looking at Apple, I like it long term, but again, you're saying you have the options expiring Friday. I can't tell you what's going to happen by Friday because again, anything can happen. It can shake you out and come back to the 21, but then come the following week and can bounce back up. So just be mindful of that. Yeah, Apple's been pretty much a beast here. I want to look here on some fib retracements. Yeah, hit that 1272. Next really price target is around, the 3, let's do 3, oh, oopsies. The 390-ish, we'll do that there. Kind of way up there. That's really far off. Yeah, so just remember, Thursday. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I forgot today is a short-term trading week. I think that the overall market will continue just be going up or trading sideways for the remainder of the week because, again, understand the psychology of the larger funds and things like that. They want to take a vacation. They're going to put their they're not going to have their A team following the trades or putting any new trades on. Literally, there's probably the C team in there on the table right now, and they literally have a piece of paper saying, please follow rules. Anything else extreme happens, I'll call you to place any trades and just monitor these positions in these ranges. So volume's going to be fairly light, I think, for the remainder of the week come Wednesday into Thursday. So we'll see. But it's really interesting. We kind of hit that 310, and now that's selling off, but it was kind of hitting that little peak there again. That 310 is a nicely round number for a lot of trades in the algo. So just as remember, a lot of the intraday trading is from the algorithms and those the bots really trading in. The longer swing term trades and longer term positions that you see on a daily chart or a weekly chart are more tied to humans. All right, good. Andrew, it doesn't hurt to take profit, right, Andrew? It feels good. The thing is, too, is to gauge it, is if you can't sleep at night because your position's too big, you went too big, or you're risking too much and you feel uncomfortable. You should be able to go to sleep every night and feel okay with your positions, and if you woke up and they're at zero, you don't feel like the world has come to an end. That's the best way to put it. It's not by telling people to just do 5-10% of your capital at a time on a position, and out of that 10% of capital only lose 3% on a trade, blah 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 blah. Like, be mindful of, don't put in 100% of your capital into one stock. But yeah, it's kind of boring stuff, I know, but it's important stuff to follow. Kind of just checking here on my portfolio. Nothing too crazy. We got a minute left of trading here. Kind of seeing if I can, looking like everything's just kind of like a little blah. No. Remember, if you do curse words, I have to okay it. But I normally can if I can catch it, but usually if I don't catch it within like 30 seconds, YouTube will just deny it. My Costco's up great today. That's good. Beyond Meat, I kind of bought the dip on that. So I'm in Apple, but I have some put spreads on that. It's been performing very well. Looking fairly strong there. Might want to untie those, see if I can get... I don't think I'm going to be able to get out of that one. A little bit left there. Got some longer term positions in Costco, CVS that I have bought some puts. Facebook has been fantastic. Look at Facebook, guys. That thing made a heck of a pivot. That is a V-shaped bottom if you've ever seen it, right there. I don't show my holdings right now. Oh, there's the bell. I don't show my holdings just because it's just I don't want people to get ideas off of it. Like, I don't mind if you ask me, I can tell you if I own it or not, but I'm not. Or if I'm showing a ticker, I'll tell you if I'm in it or not. But I'm not in the. I don't want to give the idea of if I'm in a stock and then I'm out of it. Like, I feel like there's some kind of like a fiduciary stuff that I can't give you, and that makes sense because I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. I'm just an investor or a trader that I want to educate people on how to look at charts. I'm not here to tell you my book kind of thing. That makes sense? It's not like I'm trying to hide things. I'm just trying to be very mindful. It's fair, yeah. But again, you have to understand from my perspective is like if I showed you all my stocks, which I don't know. I guess I could show it to you. How do I do this without showing my data? So this is just my, but again, it's not going to tell you if it's a put, a call, or whatever, but I can just slide this over here. This right here, you can kind of see all my positions right now that I'm currently trading within my options trading account. This is not my long-term holdings. You see a couple of like my long-term holdings in here, like Waste Management and Disney, but I'm just selling puts against those. Are you bullish on Beyond Meat? Yes, I am, Sebastian. So you can kind of see here, Apple, AMD, Beyond Meat. This is a spec play. Costco, CVS, Defend. That's kind of a long-term option I have there. Disney, some puts. This one's killing me. FAS is a long-term put. Facebook is selling some puts. IPHI is the stock that kind of came up on Sunday that I bought in some calls. It's been doing very well. IVR is a long-term play. MKTX is what we took on today for a play to kind of break above the 515. NAT is, I just been shorting this because I just think oil tankers are crap. Nike, I sold some puts in that as well with some little bit of stock. NVIDIA we took on today as well. Stitch Fix is a long-term play on some options. Six Flags has been a pretty horrible performer in the entertainment space, and I bought on the dip for a long-term hold. Space also a long-term options. Switch is a long-term play as well for electric EV chargers. Tesla is again, I'm just constantly selling puts in that sucker. Waste Management, same, and ZS we just added today as well on selling some put credit spreads there. So hopefully that was that helped you there. Again, the positions kind of went through that really fast. I apologize, but that's my overall position size there. Guys, I think we're gonna call it a day here. The market has closed. Gonna be taking some video coming out. I think I have a video coming out here in like a couple minutes regarding some Tesla stuff we kind of talked about at the beginning of the trading session here with Tesla basically blowing up here, where a trader bought was it the 17th or the 2nd? I think he bought, no, was it this one? Yeah, he bought the 1025 call for like $26, and it literally just took off. And the overall position size was around $600,000, and now at one point it got up to like 1.7, 1.8 million dollars there. So that was a large indication that made a trade very early on. Again, this 21, I just have been, if Tesla ever gets down to this point, so around 940 is when I was starting to buy to go in there. Kelly D, not in the, you're welcome. Handle, you're very welcome. Sebastian, yes, I am bullish on Beyond Meat. In the long term, though, I want to buy more stock if it goes down, Sebastian. Hopefully, you're still there in the chat. Again, guys, thank you so much for coming out. I really do appreciate all the support. I love doing these live streams during market hours, so you can kind of see on how I am looking at the market, how I am looking at potential options, how I'm looking for opportunity, and just enjoying everyone's input and just sharing the love and passion for stocks and equities. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, this is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.